Hello, and welcome to part 4. So I got the tuning condenser out, and I went ahead and I sprayed it with some, actually it's 409. It's for bare metal, stone and steel, and it also works on aluminum. It's neutral, so it's neither acid nor basic. I read in a few places you could just use Windex. I've seen people use Fantastic. I've seen people use an ultrasonic cleaner. Those seem to be the ones that work the best. But I don't have one, and when I did go look at them, the inexpensive ones all seem to be too small. You might, I don't know, depends on how long I decide to do these radios. I may get one, but for now, this is pretty clean. I'm gonna spray it again, let it soak for a little bit, and then I'll rinse it off. I read on the Antique Radio forum, somebody said put it in a 150-degree oven for an hour or something, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think, besides that, my oven only goes as low as 170, and since this isn't going to be going together anytime soon, I'm sure it'll be plenty dry. One of the things that I did pick up that I didn't even think about when I was on the forum there was, after these are cleaned, I need to go in and grease the ball bearings in the bearings back here and up in here. I was able to get the screw for this loose. Notice how it doesn't shift anymore. That DuPont Teflon penetrant, but that stuff worked actually very well. One drop, and I waited about 2 or 3 minutes, and boom, screw wasn't even stuck anymore. So worked out quite nicely. It also apparently has rust inhibiting and corrosion inhibiting abilities if you leave a little bit on there. So this is actually pretty clean, and the plates are just dirty. So nothing's bent. There's no one of the things that'll sometimes happen is especially if these are left in unfavorable weather conditions or in a barn, they will the aluminum will corrode, and you'll get little the corrosion will build up on the plates, and then the air between them is not enough, and it can affect the capacitor. I was reading about that, and then I read about a couple of suggestions to get rid of that was to put it on a capacitor conditioner tester, and they gave instructions on how to hook it up, and then run it at about 450 volts, and then turn the condenser, and the it'll arc and burn off the metal. That was that was really interesting to read about. Anyway, so I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna pause you guys and move it back over the bench and show you what else I was working on, and something I made a mistake, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix it, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Well, alright, and through the magic of modern technology, my 10 minutes is your half second. So anyway, one of the things I want to point out is I did glue this with super glue. I tested a little corner down here that you can't see because it's hidden behind metal, and it did not do anything to either the ink or the plastic or whatever this material is. And one of the things that I wanted you to see, I don't know if you can see it from here, I'm kind of ticked off at Locktite. There's a little white film that's developed from where I used it. By the way, I kind of held it apart very carefully. I cleaned with alcohol, which also didn't affect this stuff, and then used a toothpick to apply as little super glue as possible where a split was. And because I kept doing retakes of my video, I actually not only did it split this one here, but it started to crack down here, so that I needed to deal with it immediately because I was afraid I would snap it in half, and and that just makes it even a little more difficult. But again, I'm a little pissed off, as I said, with Locktite, because there's a white film developing, and this is what I was talking about with the tubes. You want to use the super glue designed for glassware, and the reason why I'm ticked is because when I went to go shop, you know, you see on the board the hang-up thing, they have 40 different types of super glue. And so since I had purchased this before, you know, maybe it was just my own dumb mistake for not being super extra careful with reading, but here it is. And you know, my first clue should have been that it says super glue specifically on it. It doesn't say anything else. You know, ultra liquid control. It's kind of cool actually. You hit the button and it doesn't just drip out, it kind of pours out, I noticed. But see, the thing is the packaging here, and you see that there's a broken glass on that. Well, I'm actually bringing up my email here. I emailed myself a picture of the packaging that, anyway, you see that one. But I emailed myself this picture here. And the reason why I'm irritated is because the packaging, as you can see here, not only is it pretty much the same color, granted one says super glue and one says glass glue, but you know, I was in a hurry and I have a million things to buy and so much time to do it. So the packaging is the same color, and even though it's a little bit different, that both of these have a picture of a glass, a broken piece of stemware. That just irritates me that their packaging would be that close. Anyway, so that was my rant for the day, and you know, what are you gonna do? So that being fixed, I wanted to show you the one application and about 20 minutes or so of navel jelly, and made such a huge difference. I'm not sure what this green stuff is. It may just be, they may have coated this with something beforehand, and that just may be what the coating did, because it's kind of got a green hue to it, and I've seen that in other people's restorations where it's just kind of green on top. One of the things I heard on Rick McWhorter's, he does the All American 5 radio, one of his restoration videos, he said something about, had to send something out to get fixed, and he said he apologized to his friend for it being dirty, but he didn't want to reconstitute mouse pee more than once, and I just kind of got a little chuckle out of that. I took the caps off, as I had mentioned I was going to do, and they were pretty easy to get off, the grody, leaky one. Actually, when I took a closer look at this is a 10, this has got two caps in it, both 10 microfarads, even though the schematic calls for 8, and this one here is a 10 and an 8, and this one is this is a Philco part number. It leads me to believe that these were actually, since they do not have Philco part numbers on them, these may have been replaced later. It is 70 years old, and some of these things went bad within 10 years. I've seen radios that were before that were recapped with slightly newer, you know, Jurassic capacitors. So that may very well be what happened with these two, because the schematic only calls for, I believe, well, I'll have to look at it again, but I believe it only called for two 8s and a 10. And I've got a 10 and an 8, and I've got two 10s, and this is only one, so I'm assuming this is 8. So these will probably replace it another time. Alright, what else happened? The dial lamp. That was the mistake I made. When I pulled the dial lamp off, I had to, the wire was, it was short, it was going to short against the shield. So it was in like this. Well, I thought it was anyway. It actually wasn't, because this is shielded here. But since it was soldered in, I did something really dumb. When I went to go desolder it, I did not know that the spring was being held on somehow with the wire and the solder, and the whole thing shot across the room. So I was able to find 3 pieces. The end piece that gets soldered, which just slides into this sleeve. This retainer and the spring, and I'm not 100% sure how it goes together. The only way I was holding it on right now was with the bulb being in the thing. I also solved the mystery of the silver paint, or the silver overspray. It was used to spray the inside of the dial lamp here to give it some more reflectance, and so that was the mystery of the overspray. Geez, oh, what else did I do? Another mistake. I made 2 mistakes. So while I was being all trying to get the grommets out for the capacitor, guess what happened? A wire broke off from somewhere. You can't see that. A wire broke off. I don't know where it goes, but it goes, the other end goes to the Bakelite block out back over here, this Bakelite block. So I looked at the schematic for a few minutes, and since I'm not super great at reading them, following them in the radios, it's a lot easier on a circuit board. I'll figure it out. I may have to scream for help and put up some pictures. But those are the 2 annoyances there. And otherwise, coming along just fine. I just have a lot of cleanup to do. So thanks for listening, and wish me luck here. What else was there? Oh, no, that was it. I'll talk about the other stuff later. And the 78, 75, whatever, the tube that I had to push in to get the filament, to get the heaters to go on. It does, on the bottom of it, I looked at, there's a couple of pins that kind of stick down, and the tube comes in and it spreads apart, and they're one of them, and it also happens to be one of the heaters. It was kind of it's bent out kind of far, so I think that's all that was, so I can bend that back. But again, thanks a lot for listening, and I'm going to clean this up some more, and I think I'm kind of done for the week as far as working on this. I've neglected so many other things around here. The house is a mess, and I have to go food shopping, and anyway, so thanks for listening, and I'll talk at you later.